साथ हम स्वागत और अभिनंदन करते हैं हमारे विशिष्ट अतिथियों का। हमारे साथ हिज होलीनेस स्वामी सुखबोधानंद जी मौजूद हैं, जाने माने आध्यात्मिक गुरु। हम उनका हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हैं। श्री निरंजन हीर नंदानी जी हमारे साथ, चेयरमैन इंडियन मर्चेंट्स चैम्बर, बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन हीरन नंदानी जी। प्रोफेसर सुरंजन दास, बीसी यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कलकत्ता हमारे साथ हैं, नमस्कार, स्वागत। अनुराग दीक्षित, एंकर लोकसभा टीवी, स्वागत आपका। वसंत गाडगिल जी, संस्कृत के प्रख्यात पंडित, आपका स्वागत। स्वामी विज्ञानंद जी, आध्यात्मिक चिंतक, आपका भी स्वागत। और डॉक्टर विश्वनाथ कराड, हमारे प्रणेता, और भारतीय छात्र संसद फाउंडेशन के संस्थापक राहुल कराड जी, आप सभी का स्वागत यहाँ मंच पर तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट के साथ। मित्रों, वाइब्रेंट कॉर्पोरेट फॉर वाइब्रेंट इंडिया, ये हमारा सेशन है आज का। लेकिन शुरुआत अपनी परंपरा के अनुसार वंदे मातरम से। वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, सुजलां सुफलां मलयज शीतलां सस्य श्यामलां मातरं वन्दे मातरम्। शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनीं फुल्लकुसुमितद्रुमदलशोभिनीं सुहासिनीं सुमधुरभाषिणीं सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरम्, वन्दे मातरम्। तो प्रत्येक भारतीय युवा के प्रेरणा स्रोत, जिनका जयकारा अभी यहाँ गूंजा, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जगत में भारतीय चिंतन, दर्शन और संस्कृति के संवाहक स्वामी विवेकानंद जी, जिनकी आज 150वीं जयंती है। मित्रों, करीब 125 साल से भी ज़्यादा पहले स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने विश्व धर्म संसद में 2 शब्द कहे, ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स, और उनके इस संबोधन ने संपूर्ण विश्व को वसुदैव कुटुंबकम की शिक्षा दे डाली, उसका वो महती संदेश दे दिया। और फिर उन्होंने युवाओं का आह्वान किया और कहा, उठो, जागो। और ये उठना, ये जागना और आगे बढ़ना हम सबका मूल मंत्र बन गया। मित्रों, आज स्वामी विवेकानंद जी को प्रणाम करते हुए हम सुनते हैं 1893 में शिकागो के धर्म सम्मेलन में उनके विचार।
स्वामी विवेकानंद, sisters and brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome which you have given us. I thank you in the name of the most ancient order of monks in the world. I thank you in the name of the mother of religions. And I thank you in the name of the millions and millions of Hindu people of all classes and sects. My thanks also to some of the speakers on this platform who, referring to the delegates from the Orient, have told you that these men from far-off nations may well claim the honor of bearing to different lands the idea of toleration. I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. We believe not only in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true. I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all religions and all nations of the earth. I'm proud to tell you that we have gathered in our bosom the purest remnant of the Israelites who came to southern India and took refuge with us in the very year in which their holy temple was shattered to pieces by Roman tyranny. I am proud to belong to the religion which has sheltered and is still fostering the remnant of the grand Zoroastrian nation. I report to you, brethren, a few lines from a hymn which I remember to have repeated from my earliest boyhood, which is every day repeated by millions of human beings. As the different streams, having their sources in different places, all mingle their water in the sea, so, O Lord, the different paths which men take through different tendencies, various...
ये संबोधन हम चाहें तो बार बार सुने, प्रेरणा लें। एक ऐसा संबोधन जिसने दुनिया को सहिष्णुता का संभाव का पाठ पढ़ाया था। मैं आग्रह करूंगी पंडित वसंत गाडगिल जी से, संस्कृत के प्रख्यात पंडित जी, वो आएं और आज के दिवस की महत्ता को हमें बताएं।
ओम समानी इव आकुतिः समाना हृदयानि वः समानम् अस्तु वो मनः यथा वस्तु सहासति संगच्छध्वं संवदध्वं संवो मनांसि जानतां देवा भागं यथा पूर्वे संजानाना उपासते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमः। अयि मान्याः, यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। इदं भगवद्गीतायां श्रीकृष्णस्य आश्वासनं युगे युगे मम अवतारः भवति। सार्धशतसंवत्सरपूर्वं 150 years back भगवान् श्रीकृष्णस्य पृथ्वीतले अवतारः, तस्य नाम स्वामी विवेकानन्दः। एतैः स्वामी विवेकानन्दैः भगवता श्रीकृष्णेन यदि तृतीय छात्र संसदि अनयोः उपस्थितिः स्यात्, भगवान् श्रीकृष्णः अत्र उपस्थितः जनता जनार्दन स्वरूपेण, स्वामी विवेकानन्दः अपि अत्र उपस्थितः। अनयोः भगवतः श्रीकृष्णस्य स्वामी विवेकानन्दानां सर्वस्य अस्माकं छात्रवृन्द सदस्यानां सर्वेषां कृते बन्धुभगिनीनाम् एक एव मन्त्रः, एका एव दीक्षा, एका एव शिक्षा, उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत प्राप्यवरान् निबोधत। मान्याः सर्वे छात्रमित्रोत्तमाः, भगवता श्रीकृष्णस्य विवेकानन्दानाम् इयम् एव मनीषा भवेत्। छात्रा में अग्रतः सन्तु, लेट स्टूडेंट्स बी इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी। छात्रा में सन्तु पृष्ठतः, लेट स्टूडेंट्स मे बी माय बैक साइड। छात्रा में सर्वतः सन्तु, लेट देम बी ऑल अराउंड मी। छात्र मध्ये वसाम्यं। सर्वेषां बन्धुभगिनीनां छात्रवृन्द सदस्यानां हृदये भगवान् परमेश्वरः, भगवान् स्वामी विवेकानन्दः अखंडितः भवतु। नमो नमः। भाइयों बहनों, आज भगवान श्री कृष्ण जी, भगवान स्वामी विवेकानंद जी दोनों जनता जनार्दन के रूप में यहाँ उपस्थित है। भगवान श्री कृष्ण आज यहाँ उपस्थित होकर प्रार्थना करता है, ये छात्र संसद के सदस्य मेरे सामने रहे, मेरे पीछे रहे, मेरे आजू बाजू में रहे, क्योंकि मैं छात्रों के हृदय में वास करता हूँ। सब छात्रों की एक प्रार्थना होनी चाहिए। स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का मित्र है, उत्तिष्ठत, खड़े हो जाइए, जागृत हो जाइए, जागृत प्राप्यवरान् निबोधत। इस सुवर्ण भूमि भारत को यथापूर्व, जब तक हम सुवर्ण भूमि भारत नहीं बनाते, जगत गुरु नहीं बनाते, तब तक किसी छात्र का विश्राम नहीं, आखिर के श्वास तक अपनी छात्रवृत्ति, अपनी देशभक्ति, भगवान श्री कृष्ण का स्मरण, विवेकानंद महाराज का स्मरण सब छात्र करते रहे। नमो नमः।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद पंडित वसंत गाडगिल जी। और अब मैं निवेदन करूंगी स्वामी विज्ञानंद जी से कि वो आज के दिवस पर अपने विचारों को रखें।
You just heard the voice. Swami Vivekananda thanked World Parliament Religion in the name of millions and millions of Hindu, representing all of you. I'm not here to deliver lecture. I'm going to give you few of his powerful words. In his lecture, My Life and My Future Plan, at Victoria Hall, he's said, we are Hindus. I do not use the word Hindu in any bad sense at all. Hindu will stand for everything that is glorious, everything that is spiritual. By our action, let us be ready to show that this is the highest word that any language has invented. Again he is saying, when a man has begun to be ashamed of his ancestor, the end has come. Here I am one of the least of the Hindu race, yet proud of my race, proud of my ancestor. I am proud of call myself a Hindu. I am proud that I am one of your unworthy servant. I am proud that I am a countryman of yours. Again he is saying, intensely love the very word Hindu, and everyone who bear that name, mark me, then and then alone you are Hindu, when the very name gave, sent through you a galvanic shock of strength. Regarding especially youth, very important word he has said. My plan is to start institution in India to train our young men. These are wanted. Everything else will be ready, but a strong, vigorous, believing young men, sincere to their backbone, are wanted. 100 and such, the world become revolutionized. At one place again he is saying, I am an imaginative man. Swami Vivekananda is saying, I am an imaginative man. My idea is the conquest of the whole world by the Hindu race. On another place he is saying, march forward and make India brighter, greater, much higher than ever she was, our great Bharat Mata. And the last, he is saying, there is no other alternative. We must do it or die. The only condition of national life, of awakened and vigorous national life. Namaste.
धन्यवाद विज्ञानंद जी। और अब हम आप सभी विशिष्ट मेहमानों से ये निवेदन करेंगे कि स्वामी विवेकानंद जी की प्रतिमा पर हम सब पुष्पांजलि अर्पित करें। आप सभी से निवेदन है। स्वामी विवेकानंद की आज 150वीं जयंती है मित्रों, और युवाओं का आह्वान किया था स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने। नमन कर रहे हैं हम इस महापुरुष को, युवा चेतना को जिसने जागृत किया। और मित्रों, कितनी बढ़िया, कितनी सुंदर बात है कि आज भारतीय छात्र संसद में यहाँ युवाओं की उपस्थिति है, और ये ही एक मौका है कि हम अच्छी और सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि विवेकानंद जी को दे पाएंगे। कार्यक्रम की परंपरा के अनुसार सबसे पहले हम अपने विशिष्ट मेहमानों का स्वागत अभिनंदन करते हैं। मैं गुजारिश करूंगी प्रोफेसर विश्वनाथ कराड़ जी से और भारतीय छात्र संसद के चीफ कन्वीनर और फाउंडेशन के संस्थापक राहुल कराड़ जी से कि हमारे विशिष्ट मेहमानों का यहाँ स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। सबसे पहले स्वामी सुखबोधानंद जी, जाने माने आध्यात्मिक गुरु, हम उनका यहाँ हार्दिक अभिनंदन और स्वागत करते हैं। तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट के साथ मन की गहराइयों से, हृदय की गहराइयों से स्वागत। हमारे साथ यहाँ चेयरमैन इंडियन मर्चेंट्स चैम्बर के निरंजन हीरानंदानी जी मौजूद हैं। हम उनका भी भारतीय छात्र संसद के मंच पर हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करते हैं। हमारे साथ प्रोफेसर सुरंजन दास जी हैं, वाइस चांसलर कलकत्ता यूनिवर्सिटी, जाने माने शिक्षाविद। हम उनका भी यहाँ हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करते हैं। हमारे साथ पंडित वसंत गाडगिल जी मौजूद हैं। हम उनका भी हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करते हैं।
अब कुछ बात करेंगे, मिलजुल कर अब काम करेंगे।
हमारे साथ स्वामी विज्ञानंद जी मौजूद हैं। हम उनका भी हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हैं।
बात बनेगी, जनहित की शुरुआत बनेगी। भारतीय छात्र संसद, भारतीय छात्र संसद, भारतीय छात्र संसद।
तो स्वामी विवेकानंद ने जिस स्वप्न को आगे बढ़ाया था, युवा शक्ति को, उसकी चेतना को जागृत किया था, मित्रों सही मायने में राहुल कराड़ जी भी आज वही काम कर रहे हैं। तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट के साथ राहुल जी, आपने जो ये भारतीय छात्र संसद की संकल्पना दी है, क्या ये इससे बड़ी बात कोई हो सकती है जो कि युवाओं में चेतना जागृत कर रही है, आज युवाओं को एक मंच दे रही है, आज युवाओं के साथ जो संवाद स्थापित कर रही है, भारतीय राजनीति में आने का आह्वान दे रही है? क्या इससे बड़ी श्रद्धांजलि स्वामी विवेकानंद जी के लिए कोई हो सकती है? हम स्वागत करते हैं राहुल जी आपके इन प्रयत्नों का, आपके इन प्रयासों का जो आपने कर दिखाए हैं। हम सब युवा आपके तहे दिल से आभारी हैं। कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाएंगे हम जाने माने इतिहासकार और कई राष्ट्रीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कारों से सम्मानित व्यक्तित्व, कलकत्ता यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर सुरंजन दास जी हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। हम उन्हें आमंत्रित करते हैं वो आएं और आज के विषय पर अपना प्रारंभिक भाषण दें।
Distinguished members of the dais and my very dear participants of the Indian Student Parliament, could I first say a very big thank you to the organizers for enabling me to be here. Let me in this connection pose the following question. Is there in contemporary India a symbiotic relationship between a vibrant corporate sector and a vibrant India? Or whether a resurgent corporate sector has led necessarily to a resurgent India? I am afraid, as I see it, the answer is not totally yes. Let me, within 5 minutes at my disposal, say why. There is no doubt we have in India a vibrant and surging corporate sector. The combined net worth of the 2012 class of the 100 richest Indians, according to the Forbes magazine of October 2012, is $250 billion, up from $241 billion last year. There are now 61 billionaires in India, up by 4 from last year. India is poised to occupy the 6th position in the world's top wealth markets. The roughly 25 crores of rich and upwardly mobile middle-class Indians purchase every day on an average 2,416 cars, 15,000 bikes, 19,000 scooters, 22,000 television sets, 9,000 fridges, 4,000 washing machines, 12,000 personal computers, 2,000 laptops, 94,000 air tickets, 86 lakhs of beer bottles, 57 lakhs of bottled water, and 2,000 kilos of gold. India's overseas investments in joint sector ventures and wholly owned subsidiaries abroad have almost doubled since 2006. This vibrancy has made India an economic powerhouse. But if the standard of progress is inclusive growth, where economic growth is accompanied by equity and access, then this corporate vibrancy has not necessarily made the rank and file of the Indian country vibrant. Let me cite some indicators of the gaps between corporate vibrancy and vibrancy of the nation in holistic terms. 1. India's ranking in the UNDP Human Development Index has slided down to 134. Amongst the 135 developing states, India occupies 88th position in the poverty index. 2. The 10% of the most poor Indians have access to only 3.6% of the GDP, while 10% of the richest Indians enjoy 31.1% of the GDP. 3. India ranks a poor 65th in the global hunger index. 4. 40% of the children in India are malnourished. 5. Every year, about 78,000 Indian women die in childbirth. 6. About 120 million in India cannot afford to have proper toilets. 7. 9 out of 10 Indians are at malaria risk. 8. In terms of social formations, the Muslims, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward castes continue to remain marginalized social groups. 9. Women in India suffer from multiple forms of discriminations evident in the UN Statistics of Gender Development Index, which ranks India at 114 out of 155 countries surveyed. 10. An estimated 13.5 million children between 6 to 13 years of age are still out of school. The gross enrollment ratio in higher education is far below the average level. 12. The adult illiterate population in India is 44.2%, while for China, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, the figures respectively are 15%, 8%, and 4%. And 13. Regrettably, India has slided down to 85th place from the 72nd rank in the Global Corruption Index. The Indian Republic today, friends, is thus split into two halves. We have the approximate 836 million who comprise the poor and vulnerable sections, and on the other hand, we have the 210 million who constitute the middle class and the 14 million who represent the higher income group. We thus have a dichotomous situation where when thousands are joining weight reduction clinics, millions are struggling not to lose weight by fighting starvation. Surely the indicators that I have cited do not support the hypothesis that a vibrant corporate India has led to a vibrant India. Now, how do we solve this dichotomy? As I see it, the solution lies in inclusive economic growth, where economic growth goes hand in hand with distributive justice. This cannot be ensured only through state efforts, but state efforts have to be supplemented by corporate social responsibility. This axiom is certainly in consonance with Mahatma Gandhi's notion of social trusteeship, and I quote from the father of the nation, I quote, that no matter how much money we have earned, we should regard ourselves as trustees, holding this money for the welfare of our neighbors. I must know that all my wealth does not belong to me. What belongs to me is a right to an honorable livelihood. Swami Vivekananda, whose 150th birth anniversary we are celebrating today, also reminded us in the same vein, and I quote, they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive, unquote. Friends, if this conviction can be generated within the corporate sector, who's one of the best representatives is present in the dais today, we can establish a positive relationship between a vibrant corporate sector and a vibrant India. That is the future we should aspire for, to ensure which we need to motivate young generation, for which meetings like the present are of crucial significance. Thank you very much indeed.
आगे बढ़ेंगे हम। भारतीय छात्र संसद के इस मंच से हम अपने युवा नेताओं को मौका देते हैं अपनी बात कहने का विषय पर, और आज हमारे साथ आकाश रॉय बैठे हैं जो कि वेस्ट बंगाल से आते हैं, इंजीनियरिंग के छात्र हैं, बेंगलोर में पढ़ाई करते हैं और इस्कॉन के साथ भी स्पिरिचुअल स्पीकर हैं। आकाश को आमंत्रित करते हैं।
I would consider it an honor to be a part of the discussion and share the stage with such eminent personalities. Being able to discuss requires one's keen interest in the welfare of the society and also requires psychological advancement to appreciate the discussion. Yes, we human beings live in the most psychologically advanced society, so it goes without saying that we should understand and appreciate the emerging issues for our country's development. Vibrant corporate, vibrant India. What does the word vibrant signify? Vibrant. It brings in the energy, the coordination of different ideas working together, and above all, the zest to thrive and flourish. Now, if we talk about corporate, the most important records of corporate are as old as 12th century, which allowed a group of men to enjoy special perks in the society. Time was such that in those days, the corporates could earn up to 300% profit of the likes of the East India Company. So corporate, which comes from the word corpus, that is a body, that is a group. For what? Business. To what extent? Maximum returns. But what's keeping them together? The mindset, the perspective, the sense of united cooperation, and that makes the corporate house the most important ingredient in the recipe of success. We know today's corporate houses have large number of employees and they need to remain focused for the welfare of the company. But time has proved that corporate salary alone is not an incentive enough for the workers to remain focused, and hence came the idea of a vibrant corporate culture. The idea was to provide a goal driven by the sense of positivity and reinforced by self-belief to guide the workers to their task, but the corporate houses faced several hiccups. In the process of creating a vibrant corporate environment, they ended up with blunt mission statements like hire the smartest person or maximize the returns, and that led to the losing of faith of the workers, and they lost objectivity and they've perished. Friends, a true vibrant corporate culture is not a set of rules that are to be followed to the dots. It is in fact flexible, robust. It's like a rubber ball. The company has to believe in it. Most importantly, live it. I repeat, live the corporate culture. Now, with that in mind, a vibrant corporate in a country as vibrant as India has more chances of success. How? Well, we all know our country, don't we? The vibrant lifestyle, the diversified culture encompasses a great vitality and sense of self-belief, which is clearly motivated by ideals dating way back to the times immemorial. Each well-brought-up Indian is well aware of his cultures, traditions, of sattvic or eternal goals. He is flexible, he is self-motivated, and he is ready to adapt to his surroundings. Now, is that not exactly the workforce today's corporate environment requires? One who understands and believes in culture. Dear friends, the prospects of such a union are so promising that various states have come up with their own programs like Vibrant Gujarat by the Gujarat government and the Suvarna Soda Adhivesh by the Karnataka government, and many more. The top B schools of our country have even started imparting education from Bhagavad Gita to enhance our abilities to cater to the need of today's corporate. With this, I would like to conclude saying not only can India cater to the need of the corporate, but it can be a pioneer for various new implies and practices which today's corporates can imbibe to thrive and flourish. Thank you very much.
बहुत शुक्रिया आकाश, और सम्मानित करेंगे हम राहुल जी से। मैं निवेदन करूंगी अपने इस युवा छात्र नेता को सम्मानित करें आज भारतीय छात्र संसद के मंच से। मित्रों, तालियां बजाकर हम इस यंग स्टूडेंट आकाश का स्वागत अभिनंदन कर रहे हैं। और अब अगले छात्र जिनका नाम पुकार रही हूं, दिलजीत थाकनचंद, जो कि बीकॉम के स्टूडेंट हैं, जगदलपुर छत्तीसगढ़ में पढ़ते हैं और केरला से बिलोंग करते हैं। बहुत बहुत स्वागत दिलजीत थाकनचंद।
respected dignitaries on the dais, and the vibrant youth from all over India. A very good morning to you all. I, Diljit Thangachan, from Christ College, Jagdalpur, take it as my great privilege to be here to express my views on vibrant corporate for a vibrant economy. In a developing country like India, the vibrant corporate or the vibrant economy can only be achieved by promoting two important factors. First is innovation, and the second is entrepreneurship. Innovation in the sense not only related with products, but also in business activities. This is possible only by adopting superior technology and a moral leadership. During 1800s, 20% of the world trade was contributed by India, and now the question is, why can't we get at least 10% in the world trade right now? In the developing markets like India, the market size and the opportunities for penetration is huge. The market size in India, in terms of population, is over 1 billion people. Though the market provides a huge opportunity, the companies will have to serve micro consumers in large scale. If they want to achieve success among micro consumers, they should supposed to have an ultra low cost business model. $3,000 Tata Nano or the Riva electric car are some of the innovative efforts in Indian markets to target micro consumers. Indian IT industry is also very famous for its low-cost, high-quality, innovative products, which brought $69.1 billion into the country in 2012. Second is to create a major platform to promote entrepreneurship and a positive work culture. What would have been the situation of 1.5 lakh people employed in Infosys if Mr. Narayan Murthy had not conceived that? Could we have billion-dollar Tata Group, Reliance, and the like if the visionary founders had lived a life of just wishing? Let me remember one great quote: sitting still and wishing makes no person great. Sitting still and wishing makes no person great. The good God sends a fishing, but you must dig the bait. Yes, friends, we must dig the bait. So there's a great importance in promoting entrepreneurship. We also need to change the work culture. It's very sad to know that our country tops as a nation with the largest number of holidays. How could a nation become vibrant and achieve prosperity when its citizens rest on 4 legs? Just for the short lasting happiness, we compromise with our motherland. What a pity. As Abraham Lincoln says, the best way to predict future is to invent it. Yes, dear friends, it's the time. It's the time to take challenges. It's the time to change the mindset from acquiring a job to become a provider of jobs. Standing in front of the vibrant youth from all over India, let me remember Shiv Khera's words. Youth do not form 100% population of the country, but they do form 100% future of the country. And a country writes its autobiography by the actions and inactions of its citizens. Thank you. Let's shine out. Thank you.
शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया दिलजीत। और सम्मानित करेंगे हम अपने इस युवा छात्र को, इन्होंने जिस तरह के विचार रखे हैं। और अब भारतीय छात्र संसद के मंच से एक और नई परंपरा जिसकी शुरुआत हमने की है इस साल से, वो है आदर्श युवा विधायक का पुरस्कार। और ये ऐसे विधायकों को दिया जाता है जो कि युवा हैं और अपने क्षेत्र में काम कर रहे हैं। राजनीति में सब भ्रष्ट नहीं है, राजनीति में सब बुरे नहीं हैं, राजनीति में अच्छे लोग हैं और उन्हीं की वजह से भारत की राजनीति और लोकतंत्र जिंदा है। इसी बात को बढ़ावा देने के लिए यंग विधायक, उनको बढ़ावा देने के लिए और आपके बीच प्रेरणा लाने के लिए ये विधायक पुरस्कार हमने शुरू किया है। और इस साल आज मैं इस मंच पर आमंत्रित करूंगी श्री विपिन शर्मा जी को। श्री विपिन शर्मा जी का यहाँ अभिनंदन करेंगे, आदर्श युवा विधायक का पुरस्कार प्रदान करेंगे। कर्म में विश्वास रखने वाले हैं विपिन शर्मा। छात्र जीवन से ही इन्होंने राजनीति में सक्रिय भूमिका निभानी शुरू कर दी थी और उसके बाद कोई भी काम ऐसा नहीं है सामाजिक सेवा का जो इन्होंने अपने क्षेत्र में न किया हो।
मैं मंच पर उपस्थित सभी अतिथिगण, भारतीय छात्र संसद के सभी यहाँ पे उपस्थित सभी छात्र छात्राएं, मेरे बड़े भाई, छोटे भाई और युवा साथियों, मैं सबसे पहले इस MIT यूनिवर्सिटी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि इन्होंने पूरे हिंदुस्तान से युवा MLAs को, युवा लोगों को यहाँ पे आमंत्रित किया है इस मंच के माध्यम से। मैं इनका बहुत बहुत हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ और बहुत बहुत इनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि इन्होंने हमें यहाँ पे बुलाया। आज स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का 150वां वार्षिक उत्सव है। मैं जो उन्होंने हमें आदर्श दी है, युवाओं को जो उन्होंने शक्ति प्रदान करी है, हमें उनके आदर्श पे चलकर हमें अपने देश को आगे बढ़ाना है। अभी जैसे हमारी मैडम ने बताया कि राजनीति के अंदर सब लोग गलत नहीं होते हैं, राजनीति के अंदर हम युवाओं को आगे आना पड़ेगा। हम जब कोई गलत काम हिंदुस्तान के अंदर होता है, सबसे पहले युवा जाते हैं। अभी दिल्ली के अंदर इंडिया गेट पर जाकर युवाओं ने संघर्ष किया एक लड़की के लिए, लेकिन जब राजनीति की बात होती है तो हमारे युवा आगे नहीं आते हैं। तो हम युवाओं को राजनीति के अंदर आना पड़ेगा और हमें इस हिंदुस्तान की तस्वीर बदलनी पड़ेगी और इस हिंदुस्तान को ऐसे नक्शे पर ले जाना पड़ेगा कि पूरा विश्व हिंदुस्तान को युवाओं की शक्ति के रूप में जाने। मैं आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आपने मुझे बुलाया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
और अब हम आमंत्रित करेंगे एक और ऐसे युवा विधायक को। आदर्श युवा विधायक पुरस्कार के लिए मैं आमंत्रित करूंगी मंच पर श्री अनिल कुमार, जो कि पड़पड़गंज दिल्ली में कांग्रेस के विधायक हैं। बहुत बहुत स्वागत और अभिनंदन करेंगे मंच पर। आदर्श युवा विधायक का पुरस्कार स्वामी जी के हाथों। मैं आपको बताऊं, अनिल जी भी एक गैर राजनीतिक परिवार से आते हैं। मित्रों, अक्सर हम ये सुनते हैं कि वही नौजवान राजनीति में आते हैं जिनके परिवारों में कोई ना कोई राजनीति से होता है, लेकिन ये आपके सामने मौजूद है अनिल कुमार। मैं जानती हूँ अनिल जी को। अनिल जी एक गैर राजनीतिक परिवार से, किसानी परिवार से आते हैं। तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट के साथ हम इस युवा नौजवान होनहार विधायक का यहाँ स्वागत करते हैं और उन्हें यह आदर्श विधायक पुरस्कार से सम्मानित करते हैं।
नमस्कार साथियों, राहुल भाई ने मुझे ये मौका दिया, सौभाग्य दिया इस मंच पर, और MIT को मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ। हम जैसे युवा साथियों को इस मंच पर इतने तमाम पूरे भारतवर्ष से उपस्थित इस युवा वर्ग के सामने जो सम्मान दिया है, ये राजनीति की वजह से दिया है। सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूँ मैं छात्र जीवन से, जैसे आप लोग इस कॉलेज के अंदर शिक्षा ले रहे हैं, तभी से मैं DU के एक छोटे से कॉलेज दयाल सिंह से जुड़ा और छात्र राजनीति से जुड़ करके आज यहाँ इस मंच तक पहुँचा हूँ। युवाओं का देश है, आज यूथ डे है। आइए हम लोग कसम लें और प्रतिज्ञा लें कि देश की राजनीति को स्वच्छ और सुंदर बनाने के लिए हम लोग आगे आएंगे। आज बहुत कमी है इस क्षेत्र में। मुझे मालूम है जितने लोग यहाँ शिक्षा ले रहे हैं वो अपना भविष्य दूसरे क्षेत्रों में देखते हैं, लेकिन राजनीति की तरफ भी हमें देखना होगा। जिस तरह से मेरे साथी ने कहा, जब हिंदुस्तान पे कोई बात आती है तो युवाओं का देश, सबसे पहले युवा आगे आता है, लेकिन राजनीति से ना जाने क्यों आज मोह सा भंग होता जा रहा है। तो मैं इतना कहना चाहता हूँ, जब तक आप प्रण नहीं लेंगे, जब तक इस फील्ड में आगे नहीं आएंगे, तो देश की तस्वीर बदलने वाली नहीं है। बहुत कम प्रतिशत हैं अभी इस फील्ड में जो लोगों को मौका मिल रहा है। जितने भी दल हैं, जितने भी संगठन हैं जो राजनीति हिंदुस्तान के अंदर करते हैं, अभी उनको भी मौका देना पड़ेगा युवाओं को, जिससे कि युवाओं का देश आगे तरक्की कर सके। इतना ही कहते हुए MIT के तमाम मैनेजमेंट को और आदरणीय बाबू जी को मैं बधाई देता हूँ, शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ कि आपने एक ऐसी शुरुआत की है। आज ये तृतीय कार्यक्रम है आपका, और राहुल भाई से मेरा परिचय बहुत दिनों पहले दिल्ली में हुआ था। इनको मैं शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ। और इस मंच पर बहुत ही बुद्धिजीवी वर्ग यहाँ उपस्थित है। इनके सामने सब कहते हुए मुझे घबराहट सी महसूस होती है, लेकिन अपने आप को गौरवान्वित महसूस करता हूँ कि आपके सामने उपस्थित हुआ, आप लोगों के सामने विचार रखने का मौका मिला। इन्हीं शुभकामनाओं के साथ MIT के इस मंच से मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि जितने छात्र यहाँ बैठे हैं, बेशक आप अपना करियर किसी फील्ड में बनाएं, लेकिन उस फील्ड में रहते हुए भी आप राजनीति की तरफ आप नजर रखें, आप उस पर अपनी पकड़ रखें और अपना नेतृत्व चुनें, अपने आप को नेता के तौर पर स्थापित करें। यही कहना चाहता हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
आगे बढ़ेंगे मित्रों कार्यक्रम में, और अब आज के हमारे विषय के मुख्य वक्ता हमारे साथ यहाँ चेयरमैन इंडियन मर्चेंट्स चैम्बर के निरंजन हीरानंदानी जी मौजूद हैं। हम उनका भी हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करते हैं।
Friends, I'm feeling very, very privileged, very, very honored. And I have to thank Vishwanathji Kharad for creating such an institution which is second to none in the entire world. My congratulations to you, sir. Rahulji, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm also very, very privileged to share platforms with Swami Sukhabandanda, who is really an enlightened person, Pandit Vasant Gadgilji, whose Sanskrit is beyond my understanding, but his knowledge and wisdom is far beyond what we can really see. We have also Professor Dr. Dekar, right from Kolkata, the Vice Chancellor, and I think his points had really come out extremely beautifully. Vibrant corporate India, vibrant India, and leadership. I think there is no issue that India shines out. Indians shine out. And you, the youth of people of this country, shine out even better than everybody else in the world, and I will prove it to you. In America, about 30, 40 years ago, when I used to go there, the doctors and engineers in most of the places came from India, a large number of them, and they were respected for their knowledge and wisdom. After many, many years, we came and found out that the IT and knowledge capital is not with the Americans, but even in a place like Microsoft, in a place like NASA, almost 20% of the people there were engineers either of Indians or Indian origin. So my friends, congratulations to you. This difference which has made, but we deteriorated somewhere down the way. And about 25, 30 years ago, when I went to America, I went to New York, and there was a meeting there of financial heads. And they asked me where was I from, and I said, I came from India. And people said, oh, he's an Indian. He's a second-class person, not so rich, not so clever. 2 years ago, I again went to America, and we had to raise for one of our corporates $750 million US. And they said, you are so clever, you are so great, and your country is so great, we will give you this $750 million US because you are the leader of this world. You are the people who can do so much. You have been very kind, sirs, of honoring me here, showing off what I have done. But let me share with the youth who are sitting here and also listening to what I have to say. My daughter, she was 23. She did her chartered accountancy and decided that she doesn't want to work for me because mine is an unprofessional organization. All daughters are entitled to say that to the father. So I asked her what she wanted to do, and she said, I want to put up, after some time and the usual stories between father and daughter, she said, I want to set up a call center. So I said, call center at that time? And she's now 35. At that time, she was 23. And I asked her, what is a call center? I didn't know what a call center was. And she explained me what a call center was. And I said, oh, telephone operating business. She said, Papa, you will never learn. You're too old. You belong to an earlier generation. Let me do it. She was only 23 at that point of time. And she set up a call center with 14 employees. When she was 27, she sold that call center business. It was called Zenta Technologies to an American private equity firm for $100 million US at the age of 27. I want to share with you that the youth of today can do better than what we have done at our age, but we are not doing it in the political side of this country. And that's the bloody shame. Because we need that vigor, which our two MLAs are doing. They are here today. I want to congratulate you for taking those initiatives. And I think all of you must decide that we need to influence the leadership of this great country, because this is the place of Swami Vivekananda ji, the knowledge of the entire world. That was not enough. I have a son who's 5 years younger to my daughter, and he was working with me. He came back from the US after doing his engineering, and he joined me, and in 6 months he told me 100 times what I was doing wrong. He's my son, so we listen. Somebody else, I would have told him to shut up. Then I sent him to Dubai, because I said the opportunity in Dubai is good and he'd be little away from me. So he went there, and after 3 months, he telephones me and says, Papa, and that's dangerous when he says Papa. He said, I want to set up a tall building, taller than your tallest building. And my tallest building at that time was 35 stories tall in Mumbai at Powai. So he asked me, and after, just before putting down the phone, I asked him, how tall is this tallest building? And he said, I want to build a 90-story residential tower. I said, my son, you know the tallest residential tower at that time in the entire world was 70-storied or 72 stories. And I asked him, how can you set it up? And he says, I want to build this tallest tower because nobody in the world has built it. 4 months ago, that building is completed. It is a successful completion. It is now the second tallest residential tower in the world. And he's only 29 years old. What I want to put about is that it's the faith in the young. It is the faith in the youth. And that is the missing link in the political life of India. The youth and the young is missing. Wisdom is there. We have Swami Vivekananda, we have the elders, we need the guidance from the elders, the teachers, our gurus who are sitting over here, our leaders of today are definitely there in our country, extremely wise and great leaders, but the spark of vibrant India can only come from leadership of the youth, and I think that is the most important part of it all. I'm quoting without any remorse the fact that when I first got my first mobile phone, I had the same telephone number at that time. The mobile phone cost me 33 rupees a minute. 16 rupees 50 paisa incoming, 16 rupees 50 paisa outgoing plus STD calls. Today, the corporate world, the telecom of this country, the corporatization leadership, which was announced by Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani before he died, that we must make mobile phones cheaper than a postcard. And it is achieved because today even my driver has a separate telephone mobile, which he talks to Bihar, to his family, in the evening for less than 1 rupee a minute with the same service provider. That is vibrancy of the corporate world. The creation of the nano car is also a vibrancy of the corporate world, where it is not only the issue of this. Oh, I forgot. The telecom companies, when they were charging 33 rupees a minute, was worth $4 billion total value of corporate India in telecom. Today, that same company, which was worth less than $4 billion, is worth $40 billion because they have reduced the mobile cost and charges from 33 rupees a minute to less than 1 rupee a minute by the inclusive definition of expansion of services and creation of technology and creating inclusiveness. The corporate world's vibrancy has created an inclusive definition wherein even my sabji wala or my fruit wala, I can pick up and say, Aaj 2 banana bhej do, 2 apple bhej do, wo ghar mein bhej do, and that service is provided by that ferry wala who comes and delivers because of this inclusive position of that. That is the vibrancy of corporate India, which will make a change of things. So it's not only creation of wealth that is important. it is important to see that the benefits of that will go to the common person, for which technology will be important. Various investment opportunities will be important. But more important than that will be leadership. Leadership has to have an objective. Leadership has to have a destination. Leadership has to have an ideal. Leadership has to have an inclusiveness, will include all. Let me say the biggest failure in my life is that I have constructed so many buildings and I have created so much policy, whether it was the national housing policy or the slum policy. But I have failed in my life to create affordable housing for all. And that is my personal failure of corporate India and my failure, and probably the failure of government too. So corporate India, in terms of the housing segment, will have to work towards a situation where we will be able to deliver goods, yes, for the rich also, for the middle class also, but also affordable housing for the poor. It can be done. It has to be done. We need to show leadership in each and every field. That's how leadership will have to come into corporate India. Many times we think that it is only corporate India which can do. Again, I want to share with you, my friends, that that is also not true. I remember the time, probably before most of you were born, there was a prime minister by the name of Lal Bahadur Shastri. We had a drought in India in early 70s where we had to beg for food from Canada and the US. This was the first time when India could not pay for its own imports, the only time in the history of India. And after that period went over, Lal Bahadur Shastri coined a slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, through illiterate farmers of India. But his leadership and his thought process, in 2 years' time, India created surpluses in food through illiterate farmers, no communication of TV and other things. And from then till today, India has never begged for food from any country. We have bought some deficiency in food, but we never had to beg for food in the value and quantity that we did. Subsequently, we did the telecom revolution, the aviation, the TV, telecom, and other revolutions. So its governments also can do so. It is leadership, corporatization, and I'll also give you an example of corporatization of government activity. There were a couple of years ago in Maharashtra, there was two projects. One was the Mumbai-Pune Expressway. The second was the flyovers of Mumbai. The Mumbai-Pune Expressway was 1,650 crores. The Bombay-Pune road was 1,350 crores. Totally 3,000 crores were required for this project. The government was bankrupt. They didn't have any money. Finally, we created what was called the MSRDC, a corporate entity through government corporatization. And they put an equity capital. Government put an equity capital of 10 crores out of the 3,000. And we created bonds which raised this money, and we built Mumbai-Pune road and flyovers of Mumbai within 5 years. So corporatization doesn't have to necessarily be the vicinity of the private sector. The government can do corporatization and create success. The private people can do inclusiveness and do cross-subsidy for the purposes of looking after the poor and the needy, and a corporate social responsibility also becomes the need of the hour. These are the ideas where I believe that you, the young, will have to make the paradigm. You, the youth, will have to make this change, and we will be intolerant of not being successful. It is necessary for us as young people to demand. You are 50%, and very soon you will be 50% of the population. We will not accept the fact that the governments of the day will not deliver these goods, because we are capable of doing it. Money is never deficit. We can corporatize it, we can securitize it. There are various ways by which both the private sector can do this success, and I'm equally at fault. The government also can do these successes, but we as the people of India need to participate in this progress. That is why this program of MIT and the vision which it creates to wake up the youth for the purposes of the future of this country is commendable. I congratulate each and every one of you for the great success, and also to the institution which is leading this initiative to wake us up all. All very best to you. May you all be as successful and more successful as India has always been. Let you be a part of the new history of the next decade. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
और अब मित्रों, जाने माने आध्यात्मिक गुरु जो कि कॉर्पोरेट गुरु भी कहलाते हैं, प्रसन्ना ट्रस्ट के चेयरमैन हिज होलीनेस स्वामी सुखबोधानंद जी हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं।
Respected members on the dais and dear friends, good morning. Good morning. Namaste. Let me start off directly. I'm going to say a little different right now. Some of us think, many of us think we think, and most of us never think of thinking. A youth, a politician, an individual should question one process of thinking. Though man a thinking being is defined, how few use this grand prerogative of the mind, how few justly think of the thinking few, how many never think but think they do. This is the sickness. We never question our thinking. And the moment you question your thinking, I think many youth will join politics and purify politics. A man rushes to the 15th floor. Now what's the vibrant corporate in vibrant India? First thing I'll say, let me say through an example. A man rushes to the 15th floor and says, Sharma, Sharma, your daughter ran away. And this man was an Orthodox Indian. Daughter ran away. He feels so frustrated, so despondent. And I said, Mera maan chala gaya. He jumps from the 15th floor to commit suicide. Arey, mera maan chala gaya abhi. Alright, and as his body was coming to the 10th floor, he realizes he is not married only. Arey, shaadi nahi hua. How can the daughter run away? And as his body was coming to the 8th floor, he realizes he has not got a daughter. Now, without getting married also, you can have a daughter, no? He realizes he has not got a daughter. And as his body was coming to the 4th floor, he realizes he is not Sharma, his name is Varma. First thing, friends, when this man was told, Sharma, your daughter ran away, he jumps from the 15th floor. Was it an action or was it a reaction? Audience. The first thing the corporate, the politician, the youngsters, everybody should do, are we reacting to life, to situation, or are we responding to situation? Is there pratikriya in our life or it is anukriya in our life? Sharma, your daughter ran away. He jumps. It was a pratikriya. It was a reaction. Corporate world, the whole world should learn to respond to situations, not react to situations. The more and more you react, life becomes a living hell. So can we have the discipline to respond? And in English, the word responsibility means the ability to respond is called responsibility. So our responsibility is to respond to situation. Now friends, while you're responding, when this man was told, Sharma, your daughter ran away, he jumps from the 15th floor. It is one, a reaction. What is the content of the reaction? What is the content of the reaction? It was mechanical. We have to understand, as youth in particular, not only we react, we become mechanical in our reaction. And when we become mechanical, machine takes over. Listen very carefully. The World Health Organization has said 2020, the second greatest killer is going to be depression. Right? It seems a Christian father was spreading the message of God. So the archbishop of the place comes and gives a beautiful black Arabian horse to him as a gift. And says, he has been spreading the message of God. This is a horse I give. But beware, this horse is a very religious horse. It knows only religious jargons. If you want the horse to gallop, you have to say, oh God. If you want the horse to run faster, you have to say, oh God, oh God. And if you want the horse to stop, pulling the reins is not going to help. You have to say hallelujah. This man says, I've learned the whole Bible, so what's difficult? These 2 words. He sits on the horse, he says, oh God, and the horse gallops. Oh God, gallops. The father is extremely happy. Now, the way the horse is going on the mountain, it is not slowing down. It is coming to the edge of a cliff. To stop the horse, you have to say what? Hallelujah. He forgot. Then fortunately his memory worked and he said hallelujah. And abruptly the horse stopped. When he stopped right at the edge of the cliff, 1 second late, you'd have fallen thousands of feet below. Right? The Christian father turns up and says, oh God, thank you. And the horse gallops. Even the word, oh God, has become mechanical. Corporate social responsibility, so often mechanical. Speeches like these, so often mechanical. So therefore, the youth should be aware, our responsibility is not to react, is respond. Your reactions, if you don't be aware, it becomes mechanical. And when you become mechanical, your tensions is going to mount up, mount up. You may be very successful, sir, but you will not be able to even enjoy your success because of your tension. And what is the use if you can't enjoy your tension? The highest rate of suicide 20 or 15 years back among professionals, can you guess it was who? Anybody can guess? It was among psychiatrists. The highest rate of suicide among professionals. The psychiatrist is to go, all right, and ask for counseling. And in Los Angeles, I've interacted with them. Yoga, pranayama, etc. is taught. All right? Now, here's a psychiatrist. In spite of knowledge, the suicide rate, now it is not. It's like a beautiful, gorgeous, blue-eyed, blonde, 18 years old, goes to a psychiatrist and says, doctor, I've got a lot of tension. The psychiatrist is a middle-aged person, all right? So his young girl says, I've got tension. Now the psychiatrist gets up, hugs her, kisses her, and sits down. The young girl said, why do you do that? The psychiatrist said, I release my tension. Now what's your tension? Itna beautiful girl, mera samne, mera tension बढ़ गया अभी. So therefore, your knowledge is not going to help unless your knowledge becomes wisdom. So therefore, please understand, if you don't address your reactions, be it in the corporate world, be it in the political world, you are going to face anukula paristiti. You have to have the discipline to respond, not make it mechanical, or else your tension will increase. When your tension increases, friends, please see, you don't experience life. You don't experience life. Lord Buddha's famous name, I see Buddha statue, famous name was called as what? Anybody? Tadhagat. All of you say loudly. For Buddha's famous name was Tadhagat because Lord Buddha taught, experience whatever is. I'm connected to the topic, listen carefully, but I'm giving a spiritual paradigm. Experience whatever is. Most of us don't experience as Buddha what is. We judge an experience, label an experience, brand an experience. I like it, I don't like it. We don't experience an experience. And when you don't experience an experience, you have a political problem, a corporate problem. You don't even experience a problem. When you don't experience a problem, you can't understand the problem. When you can't understand the problem, how can you solve the problem? In one of my books, I've given this example. Listen very carefully. A cab driver is driving the cab. I know I'm given half an hour. I'll still talk. Listen. A cab driver is driving a cab. The passenger, right, first time he's coming to Bombay, he wants to ask him a question. He gently pats him on the back to ask a question. First time in Bombay. Now the cab driver gets panicky. He goes left, right, haywire he goes. The passenger was from South India. First time he's coming to Bombay. He only patted him. अरे क्या हो गया आदमी को? Haywire गया. 2 minute का बाद, he puts the brake. पसीना आ गया. Right, sweating. And then the cab driver turns back and tells the passenger, for heaven's sake, don't touch me while driving the cab. The passenger says, sir, first time I have come to Bombay, I want to ask a question. And immediately the Bombay cab drivers, are like soda bottle. Brrr, गैस आता है, डुर्र चला जाता है, गुस्सा भी ऐसे आता है, चला जाता है. So therefore he cools down, the cab driver cools down and tells the passenger, "ए आपका problem नहीं, ये मेरा problem है." The passenger says, "What is the problem?" He says, "Today is the first day I'm driving the cab." 25 years I'm driving a van, he says. Now the passenger got और confused हो गया अभी. A van और cab में क्या बड़ा फर्क है? 25 years I was driving the van. Today is the first day I'm driving the cab. So the passenger और संभ्रम हो गया अभी. He says, "What is the problem?" And the cab driver says, 25 years I was driving a van, and in the van I was carrying dead bodies. When you touched me, I thought some Bhutan Preta touched me. Now tell me, friends, did the cab driver experience the experience of patting? He did not experience. इसका अतीत आकर वर्तमान को प्रदूषण किया. The past polluted the present. And when your past pollutes the present, you don't experience the present. We don't experience the present. So you as youth, now please see, you have to enter into politics. Definitely I plead the youth should get, good youth I'm talking, to enter into politics. But let not the past pollute the present. Yes, past has been a very bad dream. So you have to look, as Buddha says, see the present properly. Let not the past pollute the present. And when you do that, you will be a vibrant individual. But please understand, you have to see this. Philosophy in Sanskrit is called as what? Darshan Shastra. All of you say? Darshan matlab kya hai? Seeing. Darshan ka matlab seeing. You and I, in philosophy, it says we should learn the art of seeing. ये क्या बड़ा बात है तो देखने में. Atmavare drashtavyam, says the Veda. Buddha says, Yiho pasiko, learn the art of seeing. And I'm saying to the youth, everybody, let us see factually. Let us not see reactively. But you may say, what is so great about seeing? Then why is philosophy called seeing? Maybe through an example you'll understand. A couple from Andhra goes to Benares for a holiday. And they go for a Benares to holiday. Benares is famous for silk saris. Goes to Benares and the wife says to the husband, right, ready garu, pocket kali cheyandi. In Telugu, empty a pocket, empty a pocket. And the husband says, why? See on the shop there, cotton saris, 5 rupees. Nylon saris, 7 rupees. Silk saris, 10 rupees. Itna sasta hai dekho. Hyderabad mein 3,000 rupees. So empty a pocket will buy as much silk saris. And the husband says to the wife, "Ye sundari ka maa, ye istri ka dukaan hai. Ye istri ka dukaan hai." Now please see friends, she has seen rightly, still she was wrong. Because the context was wrong. She saw rightly, silk sarees 10 rupees. But the context was wrong because it's a laundry shop. So therefore you and I have to see with the context. So therefore philosophy says learn how to see. So the corporate India, the youth and everybody should see. And when you see, the Indian culture says, right, if your head and heart is nicely balanced, your seeing will be total. If only you see from your head, only from Uttar Pradesh, you may be a PhD, permanent head damage. But you should develop your heart also. So your head and heart has to be balanced. So the vision I'm going to give for vibrant India, vibrant corporate, I'll say I'll draw from Indian martial art. I'm a student of Indian martial art. And Indian martial art, we say vision, power, speed, skill, strategy. That's why strategy is called Rananiti. Rana is a war. And everything is a war. All right, what should be the strategy? Rananiti is translated in English as strategy. Now, 5 things. First, vision. Balance your head and heart, sir. At present, our Rishi says head and heart has been imbalanced. Recently, I received an SMS and says, देखो, जब मेरा बेटा रोता है नबी, जब मेरा बेटा रोता है, दिल में दर्द होता है. But जब पड़ोस का बेटा रोता है नबी, सिर में दर्द होता है. जब मेरी पत्नी रोती है, सिर में दर्द होता है. पड़ोसी का पत्नी रोती है, दिल में दर्द होता है. देखो माया का खेल देखो. हमारा जीवन अस्त व्यस्त हो गया, संभ्रम हो गया, इसलिए अज्ञानी हो गया हमारा जीवन. So the vision you should have, first please see, head and heart. Your whole corporate cannot get run with your head. You need a heart. Only heart is not possible. Head also should be there. So therefore vision, balance your head and heart. Vision should be not only success, sir. The sad part is we only talk of success, success, success. In the Indian culture, we say Dehli Deepanyaya. The vision should be balancing success and satisfaction. We should balance success and satisfaction. That should be our vision. Marilyn Monroe was the most successful woman. When I address college students, I always say this. You all want to be beautiful like Marilyn Monroe. You know Marilyn Monroe, the most beautiful actress in the history of Hollywood. All right, and everybody says, yes, we want to be beautiful. And Marilyn Monroe is already very beautiful. The most beautiful actress in the history of Hollywood. I said, all of you want to be successful? And everybody says, yes. Marilyn Monroe was already a very successful actress. You want to be sexy? And all the youth will say doubly yes. Marilyn Monroe was most sexiest woman. You want to have multiple affairs? Many people says yes. Marilyn Monroe had multiple affairs. Even with John F. Kennedy, she had an affair. Right? In spite of all that, she was in anti-depression and committed suicide at the end of her life. Whatever you want, Marilyn Monroe had. She had. Still she committed suicide. So success is not everything in life. You may be successful. You should have a heart to rejoice success. If you don't have a heart to rejoice success, where is success? The highest anti-depression pills is sold in San Francisco. And San Francisco is a beautiful place. I have a center in San Francisco. It's a beautiful place. And the highest pills anti-depression. Because everybody is doing, but your doing is a reaction. So no criticism, please. I'm going to give an example, no criticism. It seems a politician, okay, not Indian politician. Let me not get into controversy now. A politician, not Indian. Say a politician, a college student, teacher, please see, right, and a pilot were in the plane. And in the mid-air, the pilot says something is wrong with the plane. And there are only 3 parachutes. 4 of us are in the plane. 3 parachutes. And the pilot says, I'm a very important person, shortage of pilots. And he takes 1 parachute and jumps from the mid-air. The politician was there. He said, I am a very important person, blah, 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 blah. He takes and he jumps out. Now, how many parachutes are left? 1. How many people are there? 2. Teacher and the student. The teacher says, I have become an old man. Tells the student, you take the last parachute and jump. The student says, sir, don't worry. There are 2 parachutes. The teacher gets angry. 4 people, 3 people are there. 3 parachutes, 2 has jumped. How can it be? The school teacher says, the student says, no, sir, there are 2 parachutes. What type of arithmetic, screams the teacher? And the student says, sir, the politician in such a hurry, he took my school bag and jumped out. We are all hurry to become rich, hurry to win an election, hurry to get married. Then you realize I should have got married to a neighbor's daughter. All hurry, 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 hurry. Sab astavyast ho gaya abhi. So therefore, please, that hurry, more than hurry, right, learn to enjoy your success also. So first the vision. Please understand, balance your head and heart. Balance success and satisfaction. Even you are getting into politics, in the corporate world, success is necessary. Satisfaction also is necessary. What is success? How do you define success, sir? It's very important for us to define success. What is success? Getting what you like is success. And what is satisfaction? Liking what you get. Right? Just because Hira Chandani has built millions of rupees doesn't mean to say you and I have to be that. Why do you want to be number one in the world? I'm asking the question, why do you want to be number one? Have you seen all parents tell their children, become first rank, first rank, first rank, first rank? If everybody is first rank, who is going to be second rank? And you are creating unnecessary pressure. Everybody first rank, first rank, first rank. It's another ego game this is. So therefore, please understand, success and satisfaction you should balance. Right? In satisfaction, please understand the secret of satisfaction, since only half an hour is given to me. Right? The secret of satisfaction is, please understand, enjoy whatever you are doing. Enjoy, sir. I'm enjoying my talking. You enjoy the listening. If the talk is bored, still enjoy it. Right? When you learn how to enjoy, please, see, unfortunately we think enjoyment is smoking, drinking, eating. That is pleasure. Enjoyment means bring fullness to whatever you do. Paripurnata lana hai koi bhi kaam mein. When you bring fullness, but we think enjoyment is pleasure. Pleasure, different problems, sir. Pleasure has its place. Bring fullness. Enjoy whatever you're doing. I was giving a series of talks in Baroda, and somebody came and told me, Swamiji, too much of problem, Swamiji, too much of problem. I asked him, what? My wife problem, Swamiji. You're not married, so you can say, be happy, happy. You get married to my wife, then you will see what is your problem. I'm a very jolly Swamiji, you know. Then I told him, if you want advice, tell me, see Swamiji, I come home late, my wife starts nagging. Itna gussa ho gaya, through the cup and saucer, the TV broke. I thought she will be unhappy, she was happy. Then I told him, see, what you do is you balance work and home. I also told him, gave him some breathing techniques. I also told him, please understand, when you come home, give a strategy of giving a flower, give a Cadbury's chocolate, hug her, right? Try to balance. But in spite of it, as a businessman, you come late, your wife starts nagging, simply enjoy the nagging. He says, how can you enjoy nagging, Swamiji? I said, do you take alcohol? He said, yes, I take. When you initially took alcohol, it is gulab jamun taste, rasgulla taste. It is bitter, no? The more you go on drinking, you get a kick out of alcohol. So to your wife's nagging, initially like alcohol, you go on enjoying, you will get a kick, I said. Which side of the kick depends on your positioning. And lot of Gujaratis are very devotional people, Guruji aisa kaha. And therefore I told him, balance work and home. I told him, give quality time to your wife, in spite of Then after 7 days, he comes to me and says, Swamiji, it really works what you said. Now, I myself got confused how it worked. Alright, then he said, what happened? See, Swamiji, I came home late, my wife started nagging. And then I immediately remembered what you said, enjoy it. When I said, let me enjoy the nagging, for the first time I realized, Swamiji, how beautifully my wife nags. She has not gone to any college. She's 9th standard fail. But in her nagging, how much of communication skills are there? There is space, pause, pitch, punctuation, voice modulation, open statement, close statement, funnel technique, multiple closes, disarming technique, preemptive strike. Even preemptive strike. How beautifully my nag. And then I realized, Swamiji, why is my wife nagging me? Because she loves me. She loves me in spite of options available. Because the fellow comes late. And then I said, forget. And then I said, my God, she loves me. All right. I simply stopped the logic. I went and hugged her. We both hugged each other. I didn't give any solutions. I hugged and said, I'm sorry. She started crying. I started crying. The problem was solved. Not solved. The problem got dissolved. After 7 years, I went to Baroda and says, Patel Saab, su kabar che. And he said, Maja mein che. How is your relationship going on? And he said, my wife's nagging continues, my enjoyment continues. This is the status quo. This is the state. I still have 10 minutes. Yeah, I still have 10 minutes. They said half an hour, I have 10 minutes. I'm very conscious of time. Without watch also I can end in time. I said, right? I said, this is the status quo of most of marriages. Nagging will continue, your enjoyment shall continue. Whether young people enter into politics, old people enter into politics, problems like nagging will continue. And you should enjoy the problems and respond to the problems. Don't ever have the illusion because youth enters, the problems will dissolve. It is the maturity of the youth which the problem will dissolve. Bring in maturity in whatever you are doing. Not just fake inspiration. You have to bring maturity. So vision. You need to have power. The power of commitment you need to have. Next is the power of commitment. Most of us in the corporate world, we have complain. There is no commitment. And if we bring in commitment, commitment creates creativity. Please see, Stephen Hawking, I'm sure all of you know Stephen Hawking, a physically challenged person, only his brain is working, and what a great scientist this world has ever seen. More than physical handicap, the psychological handicap which is crippling people. Alright, I can give you a Beethoven, the person was deaf. Beethoven, when he created the masterpiece called the Fifth Symphony, a deaf person creating the masterpiece of European music called Fifth Symphony, more than physical disability, it is a psychological disability which is crippling people. So have the power, please see, to refuse psychological disability. Cans create success, can'ts create failure. Come with I can. Winners never quit and quitters never win. Now, for that to happen, sir, for that to happen, very important is you should refuse to get hurt. If you are going on getting hurt, be it in the corporate world, be it in the business world, if you're going on getting hurt, you can never perform very well. I've seen a lot of corporate workshops I take from companies, and they say, my boss called me an idiot, Swamiji, it hurts. The boss called me a monkey, it hurts. How can the word hurt, I said. If boss calls you a monkey, look this side, make sure there are no monkeys, human being is here. Doubly check up yourself, sometimes genetical changes can happen. Alright? And if you are sure you are not a monkey, tell him go to an ophthalmologist and get your eyes checked up. But what happens? Somebody calls you monkey, you say donkey, he says buffalo, you say bulldog. Deep within you have a doubt, maybe I am a monkey. Hurry, why get hurt? 75% of snake bites are non-poisonous. Can you beat this? But a non-poisonous snake bites you, 75% of the time people faint. Logically, snake should die. Because so much of beer and alcohol and burger and pizzas and pastas are there. Okay, now, so refuse to get ahead. Vision, power, speed. There's lack of time, so I won't give. Speed, you should do it now. The truth of time is now. The description of time is past, present, and future. But the truth of time is now. The past was now. The future will be now. The now is now. The truth of time is now. So act now. That should be the speed. Vision, power, speed. And you need skill. And finally, you need strategy. I have to end in 2 minutes, so I'll end up. Finally, you need strategy. And what is strategy, friends? Please, I'll say this. Indian culture says your strategy, and I'll say this and end my talk. Indian culture says strategy should be, please see, there's Angakara Vritti. All of you say? Malakara Vritti. Madhukara Vritti. Alright? To get a coal, you burn the forest to get coal. To get coal, you burn forest. And destroy forest now to get coal. That is called Angakara. Consumerism is based on this. The Indian culture says to get coal, you burn the forest. But can you have Malakara Vritti? Can consumerism be Malakara? Don't destroy the forest. Get the flowers from the forest. Make a mala to yourself. Make a mala to your customer. Alright, means give the best. Or you can be Madhukara Vritti. Madhukara means just only take honey from the flower. All right, and therefore, if you can operate as a strategy, take the minimum and give the maximum to the people. If this is our strategy, then please see the world is going to tremendously, India is going to be vibrant, because India talked about a strategy called Malakara, Madhukara. The Westerner strategy is always Angakara. Now management is saying what? Win, win, win approach. I win, you win. What is the third win? Ecology should win. Now it is win, win, win. Ecology, win. And therefore, I'll say this and end in Sanskrit. In English, third person means that is third person. First person is I. Third person is that. But in Sanskrit, please understand, third person is called Prathama Purusha. Prathama means first. Third person is called first. Only when you treat the other as first, then you become Uttama Purusha. Right? The first person in Sanskrit is called Uttama. When you keep the other as the first, you become Uttama. Right? Or if you keep yourself as the first, you become Adhama. Keep ecology as the Prathama, then you will be Uttama, and only then India can be vibrant, the world can be vibrant. Vision, power, speed, skill and strategy is going to make India vibrant, and you as youth should enjoy difficulty, should handle. We are corrupt all because money has become our God, not goodness is our God. We are corrupt because pleasure has become God, not seva has become God. We have become corrupt because I has become God, not totality has become God. Change this paradigm and the life is going to tremendously change. Then India will become vibrant, the world will become vibrant. Exactly 30 minutes, sir. Thank you very much.
बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you very much.
राहुल जी कुछ कहना चाहते हैं?
Just wanted to insist everybody to give a standing ovation. The great talk, Swamiji. We all are honored that you are making India proud and, conveying the message to the whole world about Indian ethos and Indian value system. We thank you so much for your time and we are so glad.
अब मंच पर आमंत्रित करूंगी व्यंग्यकार, कवि, लेखक और जाने माने एक ऐसे वक्ता जो कि टेंशन को रिलीज कर देते हैं. जी हाँ, डॉक्टर संजय उपाध्याय हमारे साथ हैं.
नमस्कार और शुभ प्रभात. से शुभ प्रभात. गुड मॉर्निंग ये शब्द एटमॉस्फेयर और ज्योग्राफी से संबंध रखता है, लेकिन शुभ प्रभात उसमें ह्यूमन एसिड भी लाते हैं, इसलिए डिवाइन मॉर्निंग शुभ प्रभात. स्वामी विवेकानंद जी की जयंती है, जन्मदिन है, और इन तीन स्वामी, विवेक और आनंद, इन शब्दों में पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट का पूरा कोर्स, क्रैश कोर्स समाया है. विवेक का मतलब है एडजस्ट करो. विवेक का मतलब एडजस्ट करो. आपका स्पेलिंग है एडजस्ट का ADJUST, और मैं स्पेलिंग करता हूँ एडजस्ट का ADDJUST. एडजस्ट करो, जो न्याय है उसे ऐड करो. हर समय की बात है मेरे दोस्तों. स्पेलिंग बदल कर देखो, जिंदगी में कितना मज़ा आता है. फिर ऐसे विवेक आपके मन में पैदा होगा तो बाद में आनंद मिलता है, लेकिन आनंद का रूपांतर तृप्ति में होना चाहिए, कंटेंटमेंट नहीं है. इसलिए पूरे जग में आज अस्वास्थ्य है, और आनंद का रूपांतर तृप्ति में करोगे तो आप स्वामी बन सकते हो. पिछले साल जब ये संसद हुई तब वक्ताओं को रोकने के लिए एक विलन था, उनका नाम था श्री टेकाड़े. और आप बार बार जिसे देखते हो कि वक्ताओं के विलन के रूप में अच्छे हैं, सज्जन है, उनका नाम है विनीत मिश्रा, जो बार बार यहाँ पीछे आके खड़े हो जाते हैं. तो जोरदार तालियां विनीत मिश्रा जी के लिए. उनके लिए करेज चाहिए. वक्ताओं को रोकने के लिए भी हिम्मत की आवश्यकता होती है, और विनीत मिश्रा यहाँ पहुँचने के पहले ही मैं रुक जाऊँगा. आपके साथ 3 मिनट बात कर रहा हूँ. दोस्तों, ये जो छात्र संसद है उसमें आप सुन रहे हो बार बार राजनीति लोग यहाँ आके कहते हैं कि हम बुरे नहीं हैं. आज राहुल कराड़ जी का मैं अभिनंदन करता हूँ कि उन्होंने एक विषय ऐसा निकाला पूरे दुनिया में जिसपे सभी अलग अलग विचारों के राजनीतिज्ञ इकट्ठा आ गए और कहते हैं हम बुरे नहीं हैं. तो इस संसद में ये ठहराव हम सम्मत करेंगे कि राजनीति वाले बुरे नहीं हैं. लेकिन बात ऐसी है कि आप लोग जब इस तरफ देखते हो, सुनते हो, देखते हो, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछता हूं कि आँख और कान में क्या फ़र्क है? तो आज आँख पावरफुल होते जा रही है और कान कमज़ोर होते जा रहे हैं, श्रवण शक्ति कमज़ोर होती जा रही है। आप पूरे दिन तक यहाँ सुनते हो इतनी सारी बातें, ये आपके आचरण के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। क्योंकि मैं आपसे सवाल पूछता हूँ, हाउ विल यू प्रोनाउंस SPOT? हाउ विल यू प्रोनाउंस, उच्चारण कैसे करोगे SPOT का? स्पॉट। और अगर ग्रीन सिग्नल आ जाएगा तो क्या करोगे? स्टॉप। देखो सभी स्टॉप कह रहे हैं। मैंने सवाल पूछा ग्रीन सिग्नल आओगे तो क्या करोगे, और आप चिल्ला रहे हो तो स्टॉप, क्योंकि आप मेरे हाथ की तरफ देख के ही जवाब दे रहे हो, आपने सुना ही नहीं। हमारे शरीर में जितने ज्ञानेंद्रिय है उसमें से ये एक ही ज्ञानेंद्रिय है कान, जो आप बंद नहीं कर सकते। और इसीलिए आचरण के तौर पे श्रवण भक्ति पहले मानी गई है हमारे ये। इसलिए ये छात्र संसद राहुल कराड़ जी को धन्यवाद कि 3 दिन तक आप सुनते रहो, क्योंकि आपके आचरण में फर्क होगा। और ये आचरण में फर्क लाओगे तभी राजनीति लोग बदल जाएंगे। आपके सामने एक कविता पेश करता हूँ। कविता ऐसी है कि सभी राजनीतिज्ञ यहाँ बार बार इकट्ठा परसों से कह रहे हैं कि हम बुरे नहीं हैं, हम बुरे नहीं हैं। देखिए ऐसी बात है कि भगवत गीता में कर्म, अकर्म और विकर्म ये 3 शब्द दिए हैं। इसका मतलब यह है, विकर्म का मतलब मैं समझता हूँ विपरीत कर्म है, और जो विपरीत कर्म चल रहा है उसको रोकने की अगर मुझे इच्छा नहीं है तो मुझे ये भी अधिकार नहीं है कहने का कि मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ। अगर मैं हिम्मत नहीं रखता हूँ बुरे लोगों की बुराई रोकने का, तो मैं ये भी नहीं कह सकता कि मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ, क्योंकि मैं वो नहीं रोक रहा हूँ, इसका मतलब मैं उनको मदद कर रहा हूँ। कविता आपके सामने ऐसे पेश करता हूँ, सुनिए। पॉलिटिक्स की गली में बुरे लोग रहते हैं, पॉलिटिक्स की गली में बुरे लोग रहते हैं, सभी बुरे नहीं हैं ऐसे कुछ लोग कहते हैं। जो लोग ऐसे कहते हैं वो बुरे की बुराई को विरोध करते नहीं। जो लोग ऐसे कहते हैं वो बुरे की बुराई को विरोध करते नहीं, खुद बुराई नहीं करते, लेकिन करते भी नहीं जो है सही, लेकिन करते भी नहीं जो है सही। इसका अर्थ ये हुआ, इसका अर्थ ये हुआ, अगर आप नहीं रोकते बुराई का तांडव, अगर आप नहीं रोकोगे बुराई का तांडव, तो आप वही हो जो द्रौपदी वस्त्रहरण में बैठे रहे पांडव। तो आप वही हो जो द्रौपदी वस्त्रहरण में बैठे रहे पांडव। अब पांडवों का अधिकार नहीं है कि हम बुरे नहीं है कहने का। इसलिए हम यही कहेंगे कि पॉलिटिक्स की गली में बुरे लोग रहते हैं, और कुछ लोग कहते रहेंगे कि हम बुरे नहीं हैं। देखिए दोस्तों, 1947 to AK-47 ये हमारी जर्नी है, कल्चरल जर्नी है। दिल एक मंदिर से दिल तो पागल है। प्यार करने का तरीका मंदिर जैसा था, वो अब मेंटल अस्पताल में जाने लगे। आप सभी लोग डांस करते हो मेरी मर्जी करके, और डांस करते हो मेरी मर्जी करके, बाद में कंफ्यूजन में आ गए, फिर कहता हूं मैं ऐसा क्यों हूं। मेरा कहना इतना ही है दोस्तों कि टीवी, कंप्यूटर्स देख के आपकी आंख जितनी शार्प होती जा रही है उतने कान नहीं हो रहे हैं। अब जब श्रवण भक्ति अच्छी हो जाएगी तभी आचरण में फर्क पड़ेगा। इसलिए ये 3 दिन का सारांश एक श्लोक में कहता हूँ, शायद मिश्रा जी, हाँ नहीं है, आपसे इतनी दरख्वास्त है, विनती है कि श्री कृष्ण ने भगवत गीता में आखिरी अध्याय में अर्जुन को सब ये कहने के बाद 63rd श्लोक है इसमें, और 18वें अध्याय में 63rd श्लोक ये है, श्री कृष्ण कहता है इति में ज्ञानम आख्यातम गुह्यात गुह्यम तरम मया, इति में ज्ञानम आख्यातम गुह्यात गुह्यम तरम मया, विमृश्येत दशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा करो। सब ज्ञान कहने के बाद वो कहता है कि अब तुम्हें जो करना है वो करो। वहाँ अभिव्यक्ति स्वातंत्र्य आ गया। स्वतंत्रता का मतलब स्व का तंत्र है, स्वैराचार नहीं होगा। हाथ जोड़ के विनती है कि सुनते रहो, सुनने से ही आचरण में फर्क पड़ेगा।